Well, I have to say, in all sincerity, the people that gave me a sort of some direction was not members of the family. They were people that I knew that I admired because they had prestige and they had a lot of things that I thought I should work forward to. So that gave me a lot of guidance. I had a lot of good friends. I had one boyfriend that was a model airplane builder, and he was pretty much a loner, and we got along extremely well together. And I honestly think that Henry Cunningham was his name. I honestly think that perspective that he had in learning rubbed off. And from that time on, I was always curious about what was going on in life. And I always admired that. His mother was German, his father was English. And even after the war, I lost track of him, but his mother was a cleaning woman. She was pounding on the door one day when I was discharged from the service. And she says, "Andy," she said, "were the Germans that bad?" I says, "Well," I can't speak for all the people that underwent all the hardships. I says, "However," I says, "I can't understand how those people in Germany, being a very good race of people, could follow a nitwit like Hitler." I says, "That made no sense to me whatsoever." She says, "Well, he got what he deserved," and she stormed away. I never seen her anymore after that. I honestly believe that my mother's strength, being so strong, made me realize that life is not easy. But my dad was a wonderful man. He really loved his son Luddy, your grandson, your grandfather. And Nicholas, I don't think, now I'm not being fair when I say this, but I can't recall any time that my father took me aside and said, "I want to show you this, show you that." And I guess that really triggered something in my mind. I'm on my own. Anything I have to do, I have to learn myself.
You decided to be independent.
It was, yes, that built a strong independence. And he always said, he took the position, "I don't know. You go ahead and do it." He knew, but that was his way of showing us you had to use your head. I always was puzzled with that for many years, and then I realized there was a purpose behind that. And of course, my mother was, boy, she was a strong woman. Oh boy. And she never hesitated to say, "You don't know what you're talking about, mind your own business." So that gave you some direction about how you're going to present yourself. Made you very, very aware of making the wrong statement in public or among friends. So I had very good parents. My dad taught me work ethics by his example. As far as I could honestly say, I never saw him take a day off in over 40 years. But I really admired some people in the family. My sister Carrie is going to be 100 years old in May. And she was always a wonderful girl. She never gave the family any problems, and she was reflective. I guess sometimes I think, why could my other sisters be like her? But what the heck? You're all independent. Well, I'm very pleased with the relationship I had with my brother, which I treasure to this day. However, it was very unfortunate that we didn't have that same relationship when we were younger. There being a big gap in the age difference. The younger people were said, "You're seen but not heard. Keep your mouth shut." I always admired Franklin D. Roosevelt. And the reason for that was he pulled this country out of a hole during the Depression, put people to work, gave people pride, and so on. Now, I don't know whether you're aware of this now, but during the Depression, there was an immense program, a communist program, to take over this country. Oh yeah, there was all kinds of cells all over. Communist cells that were preaching, "You're not working, you should have this. Why should he have that and you not have anything?" You know that. But our citizens were tough. They pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, say that's not going to happen. And I could remember, growing up as a Catholic, there were many Catholic organizations that were denouncing communism. And I always said to myself, well, I'm grateful that Roosevelt had enough sense of reasoning to put in legislation to pull this country up out of that hole. You know, I'm not a politician, but I could remember, when the Republican people were in charge of this country, they never introduced any legislation to prevent things from happening. So there again, I mean, I wasn't down in Washington, but I did a lot of reading in newspapers because that was the only way you could be informed of what was going on in the country. But I liked Roosevelt. I thought he was. The other president I thought did the right thing was Harry Truman. When he said, "Drop the bomb," he saved 1,000,000 lives, American lives. Because they said it would take 1,000,000 of our soldiers, American soldiers, to successfully invade Japan. Because those people were admirers of the emperor. They weren't admirers of a god or anything like that, like we are, but I thought that took a lot of fortitude, boy, to say, well, if that's what your assessment of 1,000,000 deaths, American deaths, drop the bomb. If you can't convince them, drop another one. So through that decision on his part, it really made an impression on me because there was someone who was confronted with a tremendous decision and he didn't hesitate. He said, "Do it." So I always admired those two people because they really put their knowledge to work and their dedication to be a good American and do something for our country. They did it.